Okay. So it appears to be going. Get the monkey cam with no monkey in there. She's hiding back here. You're right there. Yes, you are, you little monkey dog. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem. My magnet thingies, I think it's getting too hot and they keep just melting and falling off. So I've got an order for some more stick-em magnet stuff because that one does not want to stick anymore. I can stick my signs back up. Anyway, hello, welcome. Lots of things happening on the MMTLP front. We talked Wednesday about NextBridge coming out with their S1, saying there's going to be a dividend of shares for holders of NextBridge and a new company called NewCo, which is going to be a company that's going to manage the drilling and production of the oil fields. And in the S1, they firmly state everybody should register their shares because it's likely only people who register their shares will get these NewCo shares. At the same time, FINRA on their website published correspondence they've had with the board of NextBridge, and they're very obviously giving the board of NextBridge the runaround. And while all that's happening, SEC is sending out Wells notices to market makers involved and the CEOs of the companies involved. There's a lot going on. A lot going on. So, man, what indeed? So, right off the bat, turn off the intro. It's close. Bill Coyne. So, millions of new gas cars sitting unsold in China, unable to be sold. What do they do with them? Export to the U.S.? Economic effects? Probably can't export to the U.S. because they've got to pass NTSB safety standards, and Chinese cars apparently can't. They just like evaporate when they do like a 35-mile-an-hour crash into a wall. So I'm not sure what they do in China with them. They probably put them on Alibaba and you can use them as like a farm car or something. Maybe send them to India or a country that doesn't have traffic safety standards. Fill Africa up with them. I don't know. I mean, even like with the progression of technology right now, even electric cars aren't selling because I think a lot of people are holding out for something better, knowing that there's going to be better lithium-ion batteries, that there's solid-state batteries, that now we have all this crazy news about room temperature superconductors filling up our social media and watching people live stream synthesize the superconductor in real time, which I just got off the phone with my brother and I told him that a company I can't name should probably get in their lab and start synthesizing it. But yeah, if like, oh, you can buy this electric car and the batteries are going to be a piece of crap in 4 years. It's going to cost you $1,000 a month. Or you can wait a couple of years, keep driving your hoopty, and you get this amazing car that will charge in seconds and drive for thousands and thousands of miles. Like, maybe I'll keep driving my hoopty and save myself $1,000 a month. The amount of money that people are spending on their monthly payments for their cars is bonkers. The average monthly payment in 2017 was below $500 a month. Now it's above $750 a month, with 20% of new cars having their monthly payment over $1,000 a month. Not only that, but the car manufacturers are leaving the Henry Ford method of just pump out lots of cars and sell them to lots of people. And they're going for high-end, high-market cars at low volumes to drive up the price. I saw something where like the number of base model Dodge Ram pickups that were sold in 2018 was like 33,000 of them were manufactured and sold. These are like, roll-up windows, no power or anything, just base model. And they're cheap. And the number that were sold this year is like 1,000. So they're not even offering these base models anymore. You can only get high-end, lots of touch screens and buttons and 20 speaker sound systems and leather and massage chairs, and like you just can't get a basic vehicle anymore because no one's offering them. And so if you go out and buy a car, you have to compete with the luxury buyers. So I don't know what the solution to that is beyond like the government forcing companies to make basic cars for people. It's very weird. I mean, if you can make fewer cars and make more money off each car, you're going to do that because, who cares if you sell 30 million cars a year versus 1 million if you're making the same amount of money. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but whatever. Okay. Money over mayo first. Money over mayo noise. Money over mayo. A little bit of spam at the beginning. Money over mayo. Smiley face. Case Chapman, Houston. Can you explain again the significance of room temp superconductor find? I tried to explain it to my wife, but it just sounded dumb as hell. Okay, so superconductors, the holy grail of superconductors is a room temperature superconductor. Because right now, the only time we can make one is if we take gases and we cool them down into liquid states near absolute zero, where the molecules aren't moving much and the electrons are kind of free to do their thing, to disassociate from the nucleus. And it allows the transmission of electrical charge or magnetic forces without impedance. There's zero resistance. Now, resistance is what creates heat, because that's a loss of energy. So the burner on your stove, electric burner on your stove that Rosa hates so much, that induction, that's basically creating resistance. It's like putting a penny on the end cap of a 9-volt battery. You are sending energy through. There's lots of resistance and create a ton of heat, and you can light things on fire that way. That's what an induction burner is. It's like, I am resisted. If I'm resisting to this, I'm going to create heat and cook your food that way. If you have a room temperature superconductor, you now don't need these supercooling systems, these like heavy duty refrigeration systems that cool these gases and liquids to near absolute zero, be able to create these giant magnetic fields, these perfect electrical currents, etc. And if it's room temperature, you can make wires out of it. You can now wire a home, the electric grid, cell phones, computers, you name it. And all of a sudden, inefficiencies of loss to heat don't happen. Like, can you imagine a computer where you don't have to have a fan in it anymore? You can do as many calculations as you want, and the thing doesn't overheat because there's no resistance. Can you imagine having a power grid made up of nothing but superconductors, and you're transmitting energy all over the world with zero loss, and you could eliminate, in the United States, probably 20 or 30 power plants right now, if our power grid was that. The cold fusion reactor in Lawrence Livermore, where they've done the experimentation and they've proven that they can shoot these laser beams with these little hydrogen pills, and they fuse all the hydrogen to helium, and it creates more energy than they put in with laser beams. Well, those laser beams, the power systems involved to focus those lasers involve gigantic supercooled superconductors. And you got liquid helium like everywhere in these systems to keep the instrumentation nice and cold, to be able to create the magnetic fields they need to contain these explosions. And now you can do all that with just some wires. It's going to shrink the size of something that can do a cold fusion reactor to probably something like this, versus something that's like a dozen warehouses in size, which is what they're working with right now. It is Star Trek. These ships in Star Trek are built, the wiring systems are built out of superconductors. This is just the craziest invention, and I'm hoping that it gets synthesized really easily by some of these labs. I'm waiting to see what their outcomes are. On a side note, it is finding a room temperature superconductor and then causing mass genocide on an alien world is the entire plot line of the Avatar movies. So I don't know what James Cameron's going to do if the unobtainium or whatever it is that they are trying to get in Avatar, all of a sudden you can just like make in your kitchen with some lead appetite. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I just, like, my brain can't even comprehend how our world is going to change. You know, having batteries with maximum efficiency that don't produce heat. So there's no loss of heat. So you're looking at not just the solid state batteries, like those graphene batteries that we're talking about as the future, getting thousands and thousands of miles of range and charging in minutes. We're talking like you can turn any capacitor into a battery. You put energy in, just unplug it, and the energy will sit there forever until you decide to discharge it. Oh, hey, little fat cat. So, I mean, can you imagine owning a watch that 1,000 years from now is still ticking and it's not like a nuclear watch? Just be crazy. Hi, buddy. Want to come say hi? Come on. Here we go. I'm going to do a cattail superconductor karaoke. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to sit in the lap? Oh, boy. Oh, how exciting. We just have this tail just wiggling away here. Belgian Whale, hi there. How you doing? How's the superconductor doing? I put some links to some engineers that are synthesizing it in their lab right now. And I've not heard if they've succeeded yet. But they've got it cooking in an oven right now after following the instructions. So I'm sure there's some labs out there that are getting it done. Andrew Stewart, Houston, did you hear about the whale pod in Australia? Breaks my goddamn heart. Just sad. No comment necessary. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see whale beachings like crazy happen. I mean, they're miserably hot. And the food sources are vanishing. The coral reefs are bleaching so fast. Things are about to move real quickly, I think, in the climate change front. It's the dead of winter in Antarctica, and they're losing sea ice because the oceans are so warm that it doesn't matter that they haven't seen sun in 3 months. The water itself is so warm, it's above freezing temperature, so the sea ice is vanishing in the winter. And the Thwaites ice sheet is sort of the plug blocking the West Antarctic ice shelf, which is this giant glacier that sits in West Antarctica. And if the Thwaites Glacier melts, that thing just falls into the ocean and ocean levels rise almost immediately. We need that superconductor and everything tomorrow and start like sucking CO2 out of the air. Stuff's going to get real bad. We basically saturated the ocean with heat, and it can't regulate itself anymore. So all of the currents that we normally rely upon for weather systems and stuff are about to just change because everything's too warm. So it's going to get bad. MacroTurf. Not sure if you answered this yet, but what kind of investment opportunities could there be with this new superconductor? I'm sure oil is pretty peed. I don't know who's going to come out with who is going to come out on top first with commercially viable products. Someone commented on in the after show comments that hey, the oil companies are just going to squish this. The problem is the way these guys publish this paper is they produced a recipe and said, hey, have at it, everyone. So it's going to be really hard for oil companies to put their thumb down on it and squash the production of the stuff, because the recipe is basically any community college physics lab in the country can reproduce this. So I see it as pretty much anyone can make it. And the investment is not that much to get samples done. I guess we'll have to see what the process is to convert those samples into usable substrates and wires and things like that. But my guess is you're going to see initially some big companies start to invest in that stuff. General Electric, Westinghouse, Panasonic, Samsung, like big companies go, well, you 1,000 people start working on a lab in a factory to start building this stuff right now. And I bet they're doing that. I bet everyone's just mobilized because they know if they don't get in the forefront of this, they're going to be left behind, and their companies will be stuck licensing it from other people. And that's not a recipe for success. Recipe for success is the recipe for superconductor. So I'll probably look at legacy electrical companies. And my guess, there's a bunch of VCs right now throwing money at people who have like superconductor in their IPO paperwork. So form a C Corp called Superconductor AI. And that's the one that will get $200 million in funding from some Sand Hill VC in San Jose, and you'll be good to go. J-Dog, giant reptiles will roam the earth before what else is still out there? Alien face? Yeah. But you know what? We destroy megafauna as humans. And Stuart, in case you think electric cables that have zero resistivity and generate no heat is a byproduct. Yeah. Money over Mayo. Houston, I need your honest opinion. Can I build one of those RT conductors in a cave with a bunch of scraps, Tony Stark style? Close to it. I mean, you need like a mortar and pestle, a butane torch, and some glass tubes, and an oven. I think those are like the three things beyond like the lead appetite ingredients. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, there's probably like nerd high school kids in their garage making this stuff right now. So, you know, what's crazy is that it's going to result in lead being in everything all over again. So we might have superconductors everywhere, but we may make a whole bunch of dumb children. So, oh, there's a future. Ideas Matter 7707 Houston. Bird Lady floated an idea that NewCo for us MMTLP holders who transfer might be worth from 10 to 15 bucks a share. Have you heard anything about it? I've heard nothing about values, nor what those values could possibly be, nor how necessarily NewCo is going to be our saving grace. I'm just trusting that these folks know what they're doing in that respects. Meow meow. Did you see the video of Roseanne talking about Nazis in Ukraine? I think she likes Putin. Oh, Roseanne loves Putin. And also Roseanne loves Nazis. That's been evident for a while now. Roseanne is... She had a giant head injury like 30 years ago. And I think it's just kind of coming to the forefront now. You know, it's bad when they fire you from your own show, change the name, and the show's still successful. Like, oops, because we didn't need you anyway. Yeah. Apache Football Films, Houston. I was told by a GM at BBBBY that they are out of a job and everything will be sold and deleted in T-4 days. She said everyone is out of a job and said was not offered employment with new owners. Houston, need help. Do we? Oh, that's different. That seems to be the case for a lot of the stores. I'm very curious to see what Tuesday's hearing is about. Today's hearing was apparently a marathon. And Holly Etlin said basically like, we expect to be done with all of this come September. So I'm very curious to see what happens. I'm just sitting, again, like I'm treating my entire investment in this as either a giant win or my tax write-off for next year. So I think it's either or. Got one or the other. Tax write-off for next year, enough money to live for several years off of the winnings. It's one or the other. And Apache Football, Houston, need help. Do we AST or keep NextBridge and broker? I AST'd. I called Fidelity, had them do it. I'm going with that. So that's what I'm doing. Salient Sapien. Oh, God, I can't read. Salient Sapien. Professor Wade. I'm balls deep in IQ and feel it's a dead cert, but also did with my MMTLP. What absolute fuckery could they pull? mean, I don't know. I did not see the U3 halt coming for MMTLP. So, I mean, they got tricks up their sleeve that they could do. But all signs point to an entity is emerging from bankruptcy, because that's what they're telling the judge. Like, we will emerge. We're restructuring. And how that restructures, I have no clue. But there are so many Easter eggs. I mean, the lawyer today in today's hearing had a teddy bear visible. Nothing else in his background except a teddy bear visible, right? The Bed Bath website, you know, pardon our reconstruction, shows us a horse next to a teddy bear. And like, this Easter eggs everywhere. I mean, we could just be doing our little numerology thing and just seeing patterns and stuff that don't exist. But I think you know, they're throwing those little Easter eggs in there for a reason, and want us to keep noticing them because we find that stuff kind of fun. Casey Chapman, Andrew, I get it. I did pretty well in thermodynamics. I just suck at explaining the significance of it. She understood things become more efficient, but after that, she just blank stared. I mean, like, imagine charging your car, right? You plug in, and it takes like no energy to charge your car. It takes very little energy to charge your car, so it doesn't cost you much for your power bill. And when you do, you now drive for like the next year on that battery before you have to charge it again. Like, you can go back and forth across country a couple of times. You know, imagine like giant ships at sea that have these huge, you know, 100,000 horsepower engines and stuff that the pistons are the size of like 20 men, right? And replacing them with electric motors and battery systems, and those ships can go back and forth across the ocean a couple of times without having to recharge. Trains, being able to having you know, resistance-free maglev trains all over the world, traveling at hypersonic speeds. You don't even need airplanes anymore at that point, right? Because you can make this stuff in your garage and make super magnets. I mean, I want somebody to put together a list, because my brain is just trying to imagine what changes there'll be, and I know there's going to be changes that we never saw coming. Like, what else could we do with it? Like there's so many things we inventions we haven't been able to create because there's no way to make them small enough for household use, because we don't have superconductors, and now we will. So I'm just trying to like picture what, like, we could probably create laser systems to, like, outside of incinerators, to atomize our trash out of existence. So that we don't have to worry about like recycling. We just take it down to constituent atoms, and then that's it. It's just a pile of atoms that we can then sift through for use in other things. Just weird things. Star Trek replicators. Star Trek. Give me steak and potatoes. Citizen 54 is Bidenomics working? GDP is up, unemployment down. What am I missing here? Commercial real estate is about to go bust, but everyone is acting like everything's okay. What is really behind the curtain? I mean, I don't know if it's working or if it's increasing the bubble. Honestly, like, when the housing market goes bust, there's not really anything anyone can do about it, right? We've got a flood of long-term rentals hitting the market because so many new homes or new home purchases, or just home purchases in general, were being done on spec that you would be able to Airbnb this stuff. And bringing people back to the office is killing the Airbnb business, right? Because people were like, oh, I can work from anywhere. I'm going to head on down to Sarasota, sit in a beach house, and I'm going to tippy-type while I enjoy the weather. And that's people being sent back to the office. And they now need to sell their homes out in cheaper neighborhoods, move closer to the office again. So a lot of homes are being not necessarily sold, but they're being put up for rent because the seller it is not a seller's market. It's like, oh, I'll just rent it for a while and I'll cover my mortgage. Okay, but now rental prices are dropping for the first time in 15 years, and the rents are going to be below what the mortgage is owed. So now all these people who bought homes on spec are going to be paying out of pocket to cover the mortgage, and consumer spending is going to drop as a result. Then they're going to start seeing the foreclosures happen when they eat through their savings to keep paying on this home that they can't do anything with because they either can't find renters, or the renters are there and they're not paying enough, or they don't realize how much they got to pay on maintenance to do upkeep when someone's living in there all the time, and you don't have them forced to pay for cleaning and clean as well. To me, it seems like we're just building a bigger bubble than if we just ripped the Band-Aid 2.5 years ago and let GME do its thing. It'd be all over by now. We would be like, well, moving on. Because while we had the stuff in place during COVID to deal with outside catastrophe, we should just let the catastrophe happen. Because now if a catastrophe happens, we're like, oh my gosh, we weren't expecting a catastrophe. But while other catastrophes are going on, we could have just let the market completely collapse and start all over again. Oh well, missed opportunities. Dead Bass. Oh, where are we going? I just lost you. Or Dead Bass? E-Trade cost to send out NextBridge hydrocarbon stock certificate was $60 this afternoon. Yeah, so it was $100 on Fidelity. So E-Trade people are getting it cheaper. How I Met Your Moas, Congress sent letter to SEC requesting explanation of MMTLP by 8/11/23. Excellent. Jethro, 15 members of Congress on a letter to Gensler today regarding, yep, there we go. Citizen 54, can't wait for the religious zealots moving the goalposts. Yeah, God created the universe and everything in it, including aliens. I really hope they're real. I mean, that'd be nice if aliens are real. And maybe having warp tech for the rest of the aliens to come and be like, hey, we're here. Maybe the solution is we have to have room temperature superconductors. And they're like, you are now one of us. Welcome to the club. Right, monkey? Right? Yeah. Yeah. She says right. Brandon Quills, Houston, happy birthday. Do we contact AST to DRS our NextBridge shares, or is that something our broker deals with? Called Phil yesterday after hours. The guy had no idea about the process. What I did is in my Fidelity app, you go to your account, you go to your little profile. Under the profile, it says contact us. Hit that. Then there's a phone number, call us, give us a call. Hit that one and call. They'll ask, what's it for? I said, direct register shares. And they said, you wish to transfer shares into Fidelity, out of Fidelity, or other? And I said, other. And then they put me on with a person. They explained, hey, it says here you want to direct register shares. I said, yes. There's an S1 filed for NextBridge hydrocarbons. And they said in the S1 that in order to get the dividend shares they're handing out, we need to direct register our shares. So I'd like to direct register my shares. And she said, cool. Give me a moment. I'll get that process started. And then I listened to music for 15 minutes, blah, 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 blah. And she came on. She's like, we can do that. It's going to be $100 fee. And let's get it started. I said, cool. And then, boop. That's it. They gave me a confirmation number. And I called back today, a couple days later, to confirm the confirmation number, and they said yes, it's on track to be done. That's all it was. I didn't have to contact AST. I didn't have to do anything else. I just called the number from inside the app, and there it was. It was totally painless, except for the terrible, terrible music. And seriously, Fidelity's hold music, they'll play a song, and it stops. You're like, oh, person's coming back online. You're like, sweet, here we go. And it's like, doo-dee-da, doo-dee-doo-doo-ba-boo-doo. And it does for another 90 seconds with a completely different song. And doo-be-doo-ba-doo. and just stops. You're like, oh, here we go. And nope, another song starts. It is psychological warfare, that hold music. It gets my hopes up thinking the operator is coming back on because it so abruptly ends the song in the middle of a tune and then just starts another one. They're like edging their customers. Da Hobbler. Yo, yo, yo. Indeed. Jason Blackwell, Houston. Wes Christian must have bad breath because he's always looking for a settlement. Okay. Boomer finally there. Hey, Kat. Coming back for some more? Away today. Just got noticed you were live. YouTube slacking. Pounded like the like button out of frustration. Green-eyed bandit elixir. Green-eyed bandit elixir. Houston. About that DRS life now after a year of saying Philly would do him right. Well, that's regarding GME. Like, GME's not doing anything that's like, only people with DRS will get this. I got everything so far from GME. It seems like what they're specifically going for is account right now. And you know, whatever. If GME comes out and says, with an S1 saying DRS or else, I'll DRS it. But until then, you know, whatevs. Brand T, Houston. You're still adding your BBBYQ position. Kind of want to buy another huge chunk, but now it would be much bigger position than people normally put on a lotto. I mean, I don't get paid for a couple weeks, so I do not have anything to throw at it. So I'm just kind of sitting with what I got right now. Although Julio said I need to promote my online store more, sell some t-shirts and hats so I can get some more BBYQ. So by all means, go to hwap.shopify.com or the link in the description and buy some hats and shirts. I still can't figure out how to get it linked up to my YouTube channel. I've worked on it, and I've worked on it. The YouTube engineers have worked on it, and no one can tell me why. They thought it was because I didn't have a return policy, but I made a return policy, tried it, it didn't work. I don't know. But anyway, head on over there, get yourself a goofy shirt or a hat or whatever. Kelly Reed. So is Japan the black swan event by surprising everyone of loosening grip on bond yields? So now a lot of articles, and everyone's predicting a soft landing. Powell staff no longer anticipating recession. Everyone buckle up. Oh, the minute they think they start saying soft landing, no recession, is when it's going to hit so hard. So absolutely hard. There is no way to escape the real estate market. None. Zero. And every single solitary small community and regional bank in the country is so tied in to commercial real estate and commercial real estate loans. They're going under, every single one of them. So, you know, they'll try to stall this as long as they can. They'll try to like not admit or realize losses, but at some point, the dam's going to break, and it's just going to wipe everyone out. Amber Firewright News. Stanford freshman's determined reporting leads to investigation and president's resignation, accused of false data reporting. Yeah, you guys read about that? The president of Stanford University had to resign because he was making shit up in scientific papers he wrote. And yeah, freshman journalists. They've been talking about it for a long time, and this journalist dug deep. And that dude's toast. Oh, Saunders, hi pal. Please let there be a resolution to MMTLP soon. Also, don't they have to buy back half of MMTLP share for every one MMT share for every one MMTLP? That could be huge. If they're forced to close, yes, that would be that, especially for any shorting that happened before the merger. So there's gonna be a lot of buying of all sorts of things that have to happen. Amber Firewright continued. Conversation about scientific integrity, research misconduct, and safeguarding missing data cannot be reproduced. I listened to the interview with the Stanford reporter, Theo Baker. He has a journalism Polk Award. Something tells me even if they can reproduce electricity so easily, they aren't going to pass on those savings to customers. It will just make rich people richer. True. I mean, someone also pointed out in the chat and on the last show, like, all that's going to happen is rather than passing on savings to customers with these superconductors, the CEO will go from making 300 times the average employee wage to 500 times the average employee wage. It's going to be interesting. Like, at this point, more than ever, we need public power administrators. We need to seize the means of power generation in this country and the distribution of it across grids and make them publicly owned. Just make it a publicly owned utility, take the profit incentive out of it, and do nothing but produce energy that we need to operate the rest of the economy, and we'll be so far ahead of everyone else in saving money, and people will actually like get the energy they need. I don't know if you saw the privatization that happened in Puerto Rico, but the Puerto Rican government privatized their power infrastructure. They sold the public utilities to the company they were buying natural gas from for the power plants. So now the utilities are owned by the natural gas supplier, which means all they're doing is expanding natural gas power plant production in Puerto Rico, rather than like going towards green and renewable energy. Energy doesn't produce as much CO2, solar, wind, things like that. Is it now they're stuck building giant pipelines for natural gas, which, you know, cool. But at the same time, hurricane comes in, everyone's natural gas lines sever and explode, and there you go. That's how that works. KYP Candy. Hey, Houston. Withdrew my shares from AST after the news. Let's rock. Or withdrew my shares to AST, you mean? Jay, how do we profit from this technology? Is there a company ticket? There is no company yet that I know of for room temperature superconductors. I am sure there will be dozens upon dozens upon dozens of them here. But we don't have a specific one yet that's going to mass produce this stuff. KYP. But people still don't believe in climate change. Nuts. Yeah. The water temperatures off Florida are over 101 degrees. That's hot tub temperature in the ocean. That should have these currents mitigating stuff like that. And 101. I remember going to South Carolina when my sister was stationed in Charleston. This was like July 2002. And we went to Foley Beach. I talked about going there, like surfing with dolphins and her dog, which was just the craziest thing in the world. But the water temperature was like 90. And I'd never been in ocean water temperature that when I left the hot 90% humidity beach and walked into the water, I was not refreshed. I was like, wow, standing in this water is exhausting because it is overheating me. I can't imagine what it's like to leave 95 degree temperature, 95% humidity, take a dip in some 101 degree ocean water that's full of just like dead everything. It's just a petri dish at that point. And all the corals bleaching. A friend of mine who's a diver was helping restore a coral reef off of Tampa Bay, and they went down yesterday to go check it out, and it's all gone. 100% bleaching. The entire reef is dead. So if you're killing off all the reefs in the world and the animals that live in those reefs that are part of the food chain, and you kill off all the predators of those fish and everything else that we eat, and they're all dead. So the oceans just become lifeless, hot, dead things where fish and pinnipeds and cephalopods and everything else cannot live. On top of that, you know, we got more CO2 in the air, so we're going to put in some carbonic acid in that hot water and then eat away what's left. So the bleached coral heads will just get eaten away as well. really stupid. Why do superconductors need lead ape tits? You got me. You got me. Lead ape tits are the secret. The cure for everything. Instead of 54, sex toys are going to be wild after superconductors. It just won't stop. Hedge fund hater, Houston, what happens if I don't transfer my shares to AST? Not a clue. Oh, we're getting some cuddling going on? Oh, we're getting some cuddling. Don't you dare run away, monkey. We're cuddling. Look at this. Yeah. Oh, yay. Isn't that exciting? You turn around, cat, you're hopping down. Cat loves to cuddle. The dog hates it. She's like super concerned right now. Her eyes are bugging out of her head. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. What we're talking about? Sorry, I got distracted. I love it when they cuddle. Oh yeah, what happens to my shares if I don't transfer AST? I don't know. I mean, they've said that they want people to transfer. That's one. Basically says like, hey, transfer your shares because we're submitting these new co-shares to AST. Beyond that, also there's language that the broker dealer is going to owe you that stuff. But if everyone has registered and they give it to AST and there's nothing left over, how are the broker dealers going to get you those shares? I don't know. I don't know. Space Ghost Terps. You guys see judges aren't prosecuting SBF for campaign financing charges, even though he was second highest donor to Dems. Lol, vote blue. I mean, there's also the second highest. There's people who are members of the board are also second highest donors for Republicans. So they were spreading love to both parties. 88 Red Mustang, happy birthday, Houston. What the hell is going on with the C-suite at GameStop? I don't know. I mean, the speculation is that they're moving these people from resurrecting GameStop, and that they're going to put them over to resurrect whatever entity comes out of Bed Bath & Beyond's bankruptcy. That's the speculation and rumor. Not for long. Bex, what will the MMTLP situation do to the price of related stocks? Do those also need to be addressed? I don't know. Not one clue do I have. I honestly do not know. This is all unfolding in my brain, which normally can game theory the stuff, I think, fairly well. Cannot speculate. I just don't know. Fatal Wraith, I love seeing Easter eggs everywhere. I do. Jane Peck, a teddy bear on a blue towel. That should be noted. Since before Houston gets giddy talking about superconductors. I never thought we would create one. I didn't create shit. That humanity would produce a room temperature superconductor in my lifetime. I didn't see that as being a possibility. Now, like, all my brain can think of is like a Jetsons future. So, bring it. I want to enjoy the Jetsons future before I die. Derek Colhorse sent my Twitch Prime over so Jeffy Bezos doesn't... And it trails off. I don't know what that means. Finish your thought there, Derek, and I will try to read it. Away today, cell phone charge once every 3 years. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Like, oh, do you guys have a charger? I totally lost mine in the move. When was the last time you saw it? 2 years ago? Owen Saunders, hi. Do you think Gary Gensler can work his slimy ass out of the pressure the 15 members of Congress are putting him in via the letter? Probably not. They're gonna have to take action of some kind. And the ultimate regulator slapping a self-regulator might be the type of news that humanity needs to go, you know what? Good on you. That might be what needs to happen. Coffee, donuts, and Homer. I just lost where you were. Where were you? Coffee, donuts, and Homer. There you are. Bird lady? After how wrong she was, MMTLP people to listen to her? I mean, she didn't see a U3 halt coming either. I mean, trying to blame people for not seeing the U3 halt coming, not really. Doesn't really make sense. I mean, the Voltron guys are trying to say they saw it coming. They did not. What the fuck they did. They still think that people who bought MMTLP after October 2021 don't have shares, and I just sent all mine to be registered. So they're wrong. Not sure. You know, they have oil. They're trying to sell it. We'll see where it goes. Iggy Lemon. I'm hoping with how the auto industry is set on only making expensive cars, an opportunity to take back our roads and cities will pop up. We get a better public transport and walkable cities again. That's a good point. That if cars become too expensive and everyone's stuck driving around jalopies, that push for making cheap, effective public transit and trains everywhere would happen. And my God, like, everyone, go to Europe some point in your life. Go to Japan. Go somewhere where they've got lots and lots of trains. Go visit teeny little villages on these trains. We're talking population 50, and they've got a train stop. Like, you wind through these crazy mountains in the Alps, and there's trains that go to every single solitary little town out there. Every single one of them. Big towns, little towns, you name it. You know, the big towns have like an actual station with a couple of tracks. The little towns have just one line that comes through. But you can get anywhere via train. You don't have to take a car. You can just hop on a train and you can go to the next little town. You can go to the big cities. You can go anywhere for just a few bucks. It totally works. And when I go up in the Cascades and I go skiing and stuff, I just think about how wonderful it would be to have the train take me to the ski resort from Seattle. I can just hop on the train in an hour and a half, up at the ski resort. I ski all day, hop back on the train, and back in Seattle. I don't have to drive. I can sit down. I can get a cup of coffee, whatever. I can unwind for that hour trip back to Seattle. It would be so fantastic. And I would love to be able to visit all these little towns all over the Northwest and not have to drive there. How just epic and wonderful would that be? To have our own little Bernina Express going through the North Cascades. It'd just be fantastic. Did you scare away the dog? Is that what happened, you fat cat? Yeah. Oh, the little Fupa. The little Fupa right there. There's a Nurple. There's a Nurple. Yeah. Hi, monkey. See your tail on the monkey cam there, wagging back and forth. But yeah, I totally get you, Iggy. Amber Firewright, have you read the 3 Body Problems book, Dark Forest Netflix making series? I've not read 3 Body Problems. I've heard it's really fantastic, and I've read the synopsis of it. That's all I've gotten to, but I've not gotten a copy of the book series yet. I'm excited to see the Netflix movie. Are they going to make the people Chinese, or are they going to make them a bunch of white people? That's what I want to know, because it's a Chinese book written about Chinese people, and I have a feeling Netflix is just going to make them like a bunch of white people doing white people things. So, no, but I would like to read it. Iggy Limon, if aliens have superconductors made out of a boatload of lead parts, it might explain why they crash so much. They have some serious cognitive impairments. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. Is all this work to synthesize this lead and doing all this lead stuff? What's it? How does it? What's it do when it enters your system and starts doing cognitive impairments and giving you a dry mouth or something? I don't know. Dmitry Maximov, is there still hope for why I visited one in my area and it's empty? I mean, that's, yeah, they're liquidating lots of the stores. Looks like they're maintaining 300 or so leases and several distribution warehouses. There was a Reddit post saying that no, they're not maintaining those leases. They just couldn't find any buyers for them, which I don't know exactly how accurate that is. But again, there's just a lot of tickets sitting there, and I'm waiting. Alan Zhao, Freeman got his charges dropped. Corrupt world we live in. He better have spilled some beans about others. That's probably what he's done. Is he sold out? I mean, they're talking about remanding him for witness tampering. So, you know, he might end up in contempt and being held anyway. Alan Zhao, I tried to AST my shares with Fidelity, told me it's transfer and send, which is $100. Not sure if it's the same. I think that's the same. Yeah. Citizen 54, what's going on in Japan? Well, Japan is basically throwing up their hands. So, let's see if we can get a good article. Japan. Okay. So, Bank of Japan monetary policy says, oops. Leave me alone. Sorry. Sends bonds to 9-year high. This is from today? 13 hours ago. So, let's, Chrome. Bam. Bank of Japan. Done. The Bank of Japan has eased controls on its government bond market, altering the cornerstone of its ultra-loose monetary policy and prompting a surge in the country's benchmark bond yields to the highest levels in 9 years. In an unexpected move, the Bank of Japan said it would offer to buy 10-year Japanese government bonds at 1% in fixed-rate operations, in effect widening the trading band on long-term bond yields. The central bank added that it was technically maintaining its previous 0.5% cap on 10-year bond yields, but this level would be a reference rather than a rigid limit. The move triggered confusion about whether the central bank would make further moves to unwind its easing policy, which has come under pressure this year from inflation that has hit 4-decade highs. But the Bank of Japan held its overnight rate at minus 0.1%, saying more time was needed to sustainably achieve its 2% inflation target. Kazuo Ueda, the Bank of Japan governor who took over in April, said in a briefing on Friday that the bank was not ready to allow yields to move freely, arguing this would amount to abandoning the bank's longstanding bond buying policy of depressing yields, known as yield curve control. The 10-year JGB yield rose as much as 0.572% following the Bank of Japan announcement, the highest level in almost 9 years. Japan's yen fluctuated briefly, falling as much as 1% against the dollar before reversing course to be up 1% and then turning again to be flat at 139.58. The benchmark topics stock index fell as much as 1% before pairing losses to close down 0.2%, although banking sub-index rose 4.5%. I think what Bank of Japan is doing is they're about to loosen controls and let yields on these things rise, but they're like doing so hesitantly because they've had such stagnation for so long because the population is disappearing, that they've kept interest rates low, or in fact pay people to borrow money with negative interest rates to spur investment and keep that going. But people in Japan love saving money, so they don't. It's like what people are there have huge amounts of savings, and they don't spend it. So all they do, it seems, when they offer all this money on the market, is people collect it and then save it, and then it doesn't go spending wildly through the economy. So yeah, they're as you can see, the bond yields are still like pittance compared to what they are in the United States, but they're going back up. So, Japan is the only country in the world with negative interest rates, but rate rises by the U.S. Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, compounded by inflation that has proven more widespread and resilient than anticipated, have put pressure on the Bank of Japan's ultra-loose policy stance. Headline headline inflation in Japan rose to 3.3% in June, outpacing U.S. price rises for the first time in 8 years. Ueda has argued that the price rises are not being driven by strong underlying consumer demand and will slow as the cost of imported commodities falls. After struggling to lift the economy out of deflation for most of the past 3 decades, Bank of Japan officials are cautious about unrolling easing measures without firmer evidence of rising wages. Bank of Japan governor said introducing greater flexibility into the central bank's yield curve controls was a preemptive measure to address the inflation risk and allow market forces to drive bond yield prices while enhancing the sustainability of our easing framework. We expanded the room to address upside risks, but we also cannot ignore the downside risks, Ueda added in total, central bank speak. Bank of Japan on Friday upgraded its inflation outlook for fiscal 2023 from 1.8 to 2.5%, while warning of upside risk to its fiscal 2024 forecast of 1.9%. But analysts questioned the Bank of Japan's logic and warned that the latest change would invite investors to test the bank's resolve. Ayako Fujita, chief Japan economist at JP Morgan, said the Bank of Japan resorted to a complicated method to tweak its policy to buy time till markets digested the move. She says the Bank of Japan really did not want to be seen as heading towards policy normalization, but in hindsight, it would probably be interpreted as a step in that direction. They're basically hesitating. Okay. Yeah, that's nothing else interesting in there. Basically, expect interest rates in Japan to rise finally, but don't expect them to rise much. Japan's getting crazy. They're hitting the sauce. But need a wee. Good voice. Oh, thank you. Sean Waters, what happens to people who are not able to transfer AST? Again, not a clue. Your broker is going to owe you the dividend. How they get it, I don't know. So I don't know what happens. What SEC has to step in and force closure positions. I don't know. That might be what they're pushing for. KYP. I called Fidelity back and put a halt to it for now. Oh, you're stopping your transfer. Oh, why would you do that? I don't know why. JL 2023, Houston. Have you heard of AlphaGal Syndrome? I envision PETA's mad scientists trolling their headquarters manufacturing this ailment as a bioweapon. AlphaGal Syndrome. AlphaGal Syndrome is an emerging tick bite associated with allergic condition. Oh, it's the one that if the tick bites you, you become allergic to red meat. Yes, it can kill you. Yes, and it's a tick that was from Texas and spread all throughout the Southwest, and now people in Virginia and Maryland are getting bit by them now. Yeah, crazy. So what happens is when the tick bites you, it spits into your body a protein. The protein resembles a protein from red meat. And it might be because it bit cattle and stuff and had that protein in it. I don't know the specifics behind it. But when it enters your bloodstream, your body goes, what the hell is this protein? Make antibodies, kill this thing. And so then after that point, when you eat red meat and it goes into your stomach, your helper T cells and stuff that are normally identifying bad things goes, oh my God, it's that protein that was in our bloodstream. Time to murder. And your body just goes overboard with producing antibodies, and you basically go into anaphylactic shock. Yeah. So there's some crazy stories. I read an article from a lady who, I think she worked for NPR or something, talking about going to a barbecue and having a burger and then just being deathly ill for a couple of days, thinking she got food poisoning. She's like, that's weird. Then she went to her parents' house for dinner and had steak and got deathly ill again. So she went to her doctor, and doctor's like, ticks. And it turns out they tested her for it. Yep, she got bit by a tick. That tick spit the protein in her bloodstream, and now she's allergic to red meat and can't eat it or else she'll die. And it's happening a lot to a whole bunch of Texans, which, Texans who identify as I eat steak. It's got to be brutal. Hannah, do you know why EV charging station stocks like ChargePoint EV Go never took off? I don't know. I think because I think a big problem is that most people use their electric cars driving around town and charge at home, right? And people who are going to do long distances don't take their electric cars with them because they don't want to hang out at a charging station for 8 hours. And you go to a charging station for 8 hours, is there a food court like you have at a truck stop? You know, is there something to do? Is there a bed? Are you just stuck there in the hot sunshine for 8 hours waiting for your car to charge so you can go another 300 miles and charge it again? I think that might be the problem, is that, you know, if someone's like, oh, I got to drive to California, they're going to take their other car or they're going to rent one, because it's so much easier to drive 300-400 miles, pull into a gas station, spend 5 minutes filling up, driving another 300 or 400 miles. So if you, and I think these charge stations are largely relying upon people, you know, on road trips, and they're just not taking electric cars on road trips. Because why would you? That sounds annoying as hell. Like, what am I going to do for 8 hours when my car charges and I'm on the side of the highway? Just sort of like, well, I reached the end of the internet. I finished my book. I got 4 more hours to go. It's 1,000,000 degrees out here. Oh, I think that's why they didn't really take off. Bravo. BR4VO. Retreat for the monkey butt? We're a little too early. A little too early. We'll do it in like 30 minutes or so. Ludicrous speed. Not sure if I believe it, but someone said AST told them they were well over the float, but will continue accepting all transfers. Is it possible that they can do this and use it to count shares? That seems to me impossible, because what are they receiving? They should be getting paper shares from the brokers, right? They like have the special little security squiggly lines on it and everything. And then the paper shares go and they just put those paper shares in your name and file them away. I don't know how they could be over the float. Well, maybe they're over the float because insiders have registered. So, and they're not part of the float. Maybe that's how. I don't know. Antonio Baez, I'll believe in room temperature superconductors as soon as they are in hand. For now, alien beings it is. Huzzah. Coffee, donuts, and Homer sounds like a good idea for counting all the AST shares. Coffee, donuts, and Homer. Maybe Rosa can DRS all but one share and keep her lawsuit going. Oh, I missed a super chat. I'm so sorry. Jose Rosario, happy birthday, Houston. What happens to people that can't hold or don't transfer to AST? What are your thoughts on this BBYQ barcoding graph? Again, I don't know what happens to folks who can't transfer. I do know that S1 says the brokers will be responsible for providing these things. So it puts impetus on the brokers to get you to transfer, which is probably why they're starting to let people transfer. I know someone that called E-Trade every week for the last 7 months. He called E-Trade and said, hey, where are my shares? And E-Trade's like, sorry, sir, I can't help you with that. And they called and said, hey, E-Trade, where are my shares? So sorry, sir, I can't help you with that. All of a sudden, they called E-Trade yesterday and said, hey, where are my shares? And E-Trade sent them to Platinum Services immediately. Was like, so thank you for holding, sir. What may I help you with your NextBridge? He's like, where are my shares? We will transfer them right away for you at no charge. And then they transferred them. So stuff's happening, definitely. I think the brokers don't want to be left holding the bag. So they're trying to figure out ways to help people that have their shares in like IRAs and 401ks to transfer them, or at least put them transfer them, well, a tax penalty into the regular trading accounts so they can get them into AST. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to folks who can't do it. Webull has a problem because Webull basically has lent out everyone's shares. So if you have your share, if you have Webull on margin account, you do not hold NextBridge shares. They are lent out. So when you call and like, hey, I need to transfer shares, they go, we cannot. Because they have no way of recalling those shares because there's no market. So they can't be like, hey, go get those shares, bring them back to me. I'm recalling them because there's no place for the short sellers to find more shares and give to them because there's no market, so they're screwed. So I don't know what folks in Webull are going to do. You just screwed. That's where you are in Screwville, screwing away. And then what are your thoughts on BBYQ barcoding graph? I have not looked at BBYQ today. Does not look like it's barcoding to me. I mean, it's going up and down, but I don't see a barcode happening. Pretty steady. I mean, 32 down 28, which is right about where my average is now. Yeah, I don't see any barcoding happening. So I have no opinions on that. Meow meow. Chicago in the summer is full of Teslas. In the winter, you never see a Tesla. Yes, I don't know if you saw, but Tesla is under investigation for lying about range. Like literally, the program in your dashboard that tells you what range you have is lying to you based on code that was put in to lie to you. Saying, oh, you got 300 miles to go. Good job, buddy. And it turns out you don't have anywhere close to 300 miles to go. They're just making you feel better about how far you might go. And that they also have code in their software that especially lies to you when it's cold outside. Because lithium-ion batteries do not do well when it's really cold outside. And your effective range drops 85% or more in cold weather. So, you know, the lying liar strikes again. Where am I? That one. Well, chat message MIA. They do seem MIA today. I'm on live chat. Doesn't seem to be... Oh, what the heck happened? Oh. What the heck? Whoa. All of a sudden, I didn't have any chat messages, and then they just appeared all of a sudden. Whoa, that was a weird reset. Okay. Poorly stupid room temperature superconductor goes well with my room temperature IQ. Coffee Donuts and Homer. Houston can finally stay current with the chat. Yeah, but it's weird. A lot of chats do seem like they vanished. That's weird. Did I miss anything there? Looks like I got those. Okay. All right. Weird. I got enough of you in here. I should be like an hour behind, and I'm only 25 minutes behind. So, 23 minutes behind. Mr. Lasuna, Houston, you mentioned the superconductor. I know nothing about this stuff. It seems counterintuitive to me that something can be so revolutionary and at the same time so simple. Thoughts? That's the weird thing and the amazing thing. The way these folks gave out the recipe for making this in their paper, like, hey, make it yourself. That tells me that they see the benefits it has for humanity. In much the same way that, like, Jonas Salk gave away the patents for his vaccine because it was too important to make money off of it. You just need to just help people. And to me, that is like the most awesome science. That you're going to get your Nobel Prize. You're going to get a pile of money out of it. You're going to have tenure position anywhere in the world. You're going to be revered forever on the level of Einstein and Newton and like the great minds of history. So, you know, cool. You're helping humanity, not just trying to be a dick and keep it all for yourself. Awesome. I think that's really cool. And, It's definitely going to be, if you are a company that deals with electronics in any way, shape, or form, and you are not jumping in on this, you're going to be left in the dust. So everybody has to be trying to tackle this thing right now. Yeah. The fact that it's so simple is what's blowing my mind. It's that these guys were able to basically like, what elements do we need in the room temperature superconductor? It needs to maintain its solid form. It needs to be able to do this. It needs to be able to do that. It needs to have these things. And they're able to like mix it in a lab and be like, does that work? No. How about this way? Nope. How about this way? Nope. How about this way? And eventually, all of a sudden, they like levitated the material and magnet. Like, what is happening? We just did quantum locking with a room temperature substance. I mean, if I were the scientist in the room doing that, I think I would have like just come in my shorts. There'd be no way. And the erection wouldn't go away. It just would stay forever. I'd be like knocking things off the lab tables with it. This person, in Korean, I think even FINRA did not know FINRA would halt U3 halt. How could Bird Lady know it? Exactly. FINRA had a panic attack at midnight on December 9th and went, halt, because they saw the level 2s. That's exactly, they saw the level 2s, they saw how many short shares were out there, and they freaked out and they halted. I stand behind that theory 100%. I'm not buying this whole, oh, I can't settle crap. They know what's up. Meow meow. Was Volkswagen forced to buy back every single TDI they ever purchased? They didn't necessarily buy them back, but they did do settlements. Because I still see those TDIs like for sale, used car lots and stuff at significant discounts compared to other cars. But if you want to get rid of your TDI, they basically had to pay you like the price you paid for the car. If you guys don't remember, Volkswagen, like what's happening with Tesla, they fudged data. They said that their diesel engines produced less particulates than other cars, and they had a special system in place that only while being tested did it not release the particulates. And the minute testing was over, it was like coughed out all the soot and sulfur and everything else. So they were lying on their test, and in reality, were just pumping out tons of particulates. And they got busted, like billions of dollars in fines and everything. The other incredible thing is, excuse me, is that a lot of diesel engines can't be sold in passenger cars in the United States because of the particulates that come out. But diesel engines sip gasoline or sip diesel fuel at a fraction of the rate, are much more efficient in burning that energy and getting torque and horsepower out of it than gasoline engines are. But the amount of particulates per gallon burned are more than the particulates per gallon of gasoline combustion engines. The interesting thing is that if you have a highly efficient turbo diesel motor in a little car and a gasoline engine in a little car, the amount of particulates overall pumped out are about the same, because this one's sipping, producing more per gallon, but using less fuel per mile. So, it just low sulfur fuel, don't make acid rain, have better catalytic converters, or just, graphene batteries and move from there. Ted Bingham, Houston. Half AST, half broker, silly? You're trading again completely out to your eyes. How does your MOAS dreams change now with semiconductor tech? What does that future look like to you? Well, I don't know if superconductor tech is necessarily going to affect potential MOAS, because the superconductor cannot go out and buy up shares that are owed. But if you want a half AST and half not, go for it. I just put them all into AST because that's what they're telling me to do. So I'm just going to do what they say and just turn my brain off in an instant and just do what they say. So that's where I'm going. Yeah, but I don't think I don't think what they're going for is general trading. Like, hey, we're just going to put the stock on the market. It's going to start trading again. I think what they're going for is such a clusterfuck that the SEC has to step in and unravel it and say, okay, we're going to do a settlement of this much per share, or we're going to do a settlement and we're going to do 2 days of trading to close out all these shorts, or something like that. That the NextBridge crew is looking at gumming up the system so much, causing such a calamity at the brokerages that they forced the hand of the SEC to step in and fix this. I think that's what they're going for. And what avenue of it being fixed, I don't know how that settlement will work out, or who will get punished, or how. But I think that's what they're shooting for here. Reduced Sugar Daddy 28. I vote for corporal punishment against anyone who pees or poops on our room temperature maglev trains. Brandon Moore, is there a transfer deadline? Not specifically, because they're waiting for approval of the S1, but in it, if I remember correctly, it says that the dividend would be 60 days after the approval of the S1. So I just did it now. Get it out of the way, because it's going to take several weeks for it to go through, because that's what they say it takes. And that's how that will be done. Whew. J-Dog, Subway having a contest, lifetime supply of sandwiches if person's first name is legally changed to Subway. Kitty? How would you like to be Subway, Shilpa Batman? Does that work for you? Huh? Isn't that the plot of an episode of Community? That a guy changed his name to Subway and enrolled in the school, and the food court became a Subway? Seems like they're doing reruns here. Oh, you're just such a fat little cat. Yes, you are. Oh, they're scritchy scratches. Woo! Yes. But yeah, that seems like the plot of an episode of Subway. Because Britta starts dating the guy who legally changed his name to Subway. If I remember correctly. Since 54 superconductors will make electric chairs more effective. Maui Sam's here. Hello. Generally, E-Trade will send your paper certificates for $60 fee. They need to mail them to AST. I confirmed to AST that this is how it's done. All right. Maui Sam. Maui Sam would like to know, do you know if the old leases have been updated to include them to be assignable, and if the new leases have been written to be assumable? I have cat hair in my nose. It's a whole bunch of cat hairs in my nose. There we go. All right. Sorry. I have no idea. I have not looked at the filings as of late as to what leases have been sent out, consumed. Sounds like Burlington wants a lot of them. Sounds like Dream On got a few of them. Yeah. But I don't know what the update is today. Reset again. The AST statement that they were over has been debunked by the person who reported it several times. The rep was joking around with the person and people took the statement the wrong way. Noted. Frosted Flakes. Something seems odd in the superconductor paper. They publish resistivity to 10 to the negative 2 ohms per centimeter. Was the sample not viable for more precise measurement? I don't know. It might be a case of they don't have a tool available in the lab that can measure resistance that low. Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to measure resistance that low, it could be the actual apparatus is the resistor in that case. Jiminy, how many shows this week? Houston on fire. Only 3 shows, because Monday night I did a Twitch, so I guess technically 4. But only like 5 of you are watching the Twitch anyway. I do not get the crowds on Twitch like I do here, because not everyone wants to watch me stare at Google Street View images. But you can ask all the questions during the Twitch streams as you do here. It's just that I got it in the corner window over here, the chat, and then I'm trying to figure out what's happening with the game, and then I look over, answer some questions, and head back again. It's also super late at night, so, you know, it's like 3 night owls and 1 early morning person from Europe. This smells fish. All of a sudden, brokers are willing to transfer shares to AST. Do they really have shares, or AST is participating as a partner in crime like FINRA? Chat message flicker phenomena. And far right, some things are too important to make money off of. Disney copyright monopoly needs to die. It's unhealthy for the creative arts side of the culture. Yes. You got 70 years out of a character, public domain, done, over it. None of this extension crap, create a new character, whatever. Anonymous Bloomer, what's your thoughts on recent leadership changes happening in GME as related to merger and acquisition, as we are all speculating, or could be something else? At this point, there's probably 3 reasons to get rid of somebody at that position, or to have them resign or whatever. Reason number 1, they sucked at their job, and you're like, get out. Okay. Reason number 2, they finished doing what they needed to do. Right? They're sent in to fix something or to be a wizard and like streamline something. They did their job, and now they're going to move on to the next company. Wonk. Number 3, we like you so much. You did such a great job reviving this company that when we acquire this other company, we're going to put you in there to revive them. So those are the 3 reasons that they would be leaving that position. I'm leaning less on you sucked at your job. About 25% towards you did your job, you fixed everything, you streamlined it, now it's time to move on to your next role doing that for someone else. And about 75% towards merger and acquisition. That we want you to be in charge of this new realm because you know what's up, and do that. So that's what I'm leaning towards. If they sucked at their job, they would have fired them a long time ago. Anonymous Bloomer, follow-up question. Does RC pump and dump case has any impact on delaying or not revealing any deal, including Teddy, etc.? I don't think so. They dropped one of the counts in the complaint today. It was like the main one. Another problem that the plaintiff has is that they have no evidence. So that hurts the ability of that case to really move forward. My guess is that this will probably get dismissed in its entirety. Hi, buddy. How are you? Are you a good dog? Are you? Yeah. SP's here. Hello, SP. Samuel Capuano. What's going on with BBig? BBig got delisted. Their board apparently has resigned. They never filed any of the paperwork to keep up on requirements for being listed on the NASDAQ. So it got sent to the OTC. It may be in violation and have to stop trading in general if that keeps up. But we're waiting for a court order from federal court in Las Vegas basically saying the board shall cease to exist and we're going to put a receiver in there to run the company. So that's what it sounds like. And from there, who knows where it goes. Since before, asking again, in Houston, is Biden economics working? Is it working but about to run into a recession? Or is this all don't look behind our curtains run? You asked that one already answered. I answered Citizen 54. We're not paying attention. Basically, I said, whatever they're doing seems to be working for now, but I think they're building a bubble. And that you cannot escape what's happening in the real estate market. You can try as you might, but the real estate market is going to end up deciding where everything goes, and where that's going is a turd sandwich. So, yeah. Holy crap! I've reached the end of the chat. I'm at the end of the chat. What's with all you quiet people today in the chat, not throwing the questions in here? Well, I guess I guess it's a little early, but I guess I can come back here and I can do this, and the monkey butt can be super excited. Yeah. Okay. Pieces there. Oh, it's delicious. Your eyeballs are popping out of your skull, puppy dog. Oh boy, huh? Oh boy. All right. Whew. So beefy. So beefy. Ready for number 1? Yeah, come get it. There it is. Oh, yeah. Number 2 in the Jaws cam. Dun 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 dun. All right, I just love that. Seeing that mouse just go hard. Julie's Miami, Houston. I'm still staring at the $0 residual check from Disney to Lizzie McGuire's father. Yeah. So the guy who plays Lizzie McGuire's dad in the show received a residual check from Disney for $0.00 in the mail. That's how much money he's making off of the show, still being incredibly popular on Disney Plus. Absolutely insane. Which is why they're striking, because if they're using your likeness and making money off of it, they have to keep paying you. So, pay up, suckers. Amber Fire in a chat, other side of the black hole, mirror universe. Ted Bingham, Houston rocks, monkey butt destroyer of worlds. Oh, you're such a good dog. Yes, you are. Even though you don't like snuggling with the cat, it gives you panic attacks. Daniel Batchelor, Houston is lead the primary component in these room temperature superconductors, and how do we make that safe for consumer use? Not a clue. I honestly don't know. And like, when it comes time to take that lead and recycle it, because something's reached the end of its life, how are we going to go about doing that? I don't know. Those are bridges we're going to have to cross when we get to them. But like, we still have lead everywhere in our environment. You go fishing, you're using lead lures. You shoot guns, you're on lead all the time. Like we allow fishing lures and the weights and everything just to sit in our rivers. So there's lead everywhere. We just finally got out of like paints and ceramic coatings and things like that. So we did a little bit better, but still, and it got out of gasoline. That was a big one, burning it and just sending it into the air. So that just made entire generations of boomers just stupid as shit. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to figure out what we're gonna do with this lead. But the fact that we can have a superconductor, well, can we have a little bit dumber people if we have a superconductor, making it so that we don't burn as much fuels? What's the trade-off there? Stupidity versus destroying the Earth with CO2. I don't know how to balance that one necessarily. I guess we're just gonna be dumb. We're just gonna be dumb people. Sis54, Trump attempted to delete video from a Mar-a-Lago surveillance showing his mishandling documents like it's like the ocean's the layman. Peachy Sunday's got some coordinates for us. All right, Peachy Sunday, what do you got? We're going to go somewhere. We haven't done any coordinates yet today. Because coordinates, for some reason, just... where? Google Earth. There's Google Earth. Oh, you're in the wrong window. Sorry, one sec. Gotta put you over here. Send you there. All right. We are still zoomed in on that weird gyre pond thing, which is really cool, I think. And we're going to go somewhere. Somewhere Peachy Sunday sends us. Bam, bam. Cannot understand. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're going to the Caribbean. We're going to some random spot in the ocean. All right, Peachy Sunday. That did not help us any way, shape, or form. Where in the ocean are we? We are, what are these? September 30th. This thing. Plot of the first transatlantic voyage of Columbus was linked to a very detailed scientific study. Ah, is that where you're taking me? All right. So this is the first Columbus track. Okay. So this is about where they think he was? Where's it taking me? Taking me to content unavailable. Click here, try again. Nope, still unavailable. Oh, one sec. No momento, por favor. Looks like it's one to make me sign into my Google account here. Okay, now I gotta check my phone. I guess I'm trying to log in. Yes, it is me. Can I read it yet? There we go. Okay. Nope. Back. All right. Try that one more time. Click on you. Click on Columbus track. Click on. Click here again. Nope. Doesn't work. Dang it. So anyway, Feature Sunday put us on the track of Columbus. Is this all Columbus as well? Transatlantic Voyage of Columbus. I don't know what that is. Chief Scientist Ewing, more about Ocean Atlantic Grid. Columbus. Path Discovery, Italian only. Voyage of Columbus. So it looks like Columbus wandered all over the place over here. Just wandered around for a while. Don't know what that is. I have no idea what these things are. Columbus lands at San Salvador, Watling Island. It's a tiny little island, isn't it? In the Bahamas. Cool. Anyway, there's that. Oh, east, not west. Oh, you weren't trying to go there. So we need to go east. Ah, so you weren't trying to take me to Columbus's first voyage. You're trying to take me to Qatar? To the airport in Qatar? To this galaxy-looking thing? The orchard. Okay. Can we go inside the orchard? Wow. We are inside. That just looks like an airport. That's not very exciting. Is there a different one? Where am I? Oh. What happened? What happened? Search. Oh, okay. Try that again. I assume we're going to see something cool in this place. So show me something cool. Airport. We'll try that one. There we go. That looks cooler. All right. I like my airports. Totally wild. And there you go. That is from above. That glass looks so weird. So you got a Chanel store, because you know who doesn't like to go to the airport and do some insane shopping? Huh. It's really empty. There's a couple people over there. I guess once you get through the World Cup, not too much reason to have massive amounts of travel to your teeny tiny desert nation. But yeah, these things are cool. They're like little gravity wells. So there's two of them, three of them. There's three of them. So we exit Street View again. We look down. They look really weird from above, don't they? There we go. Ralph's Coffee. There's a Ralph. There's a couple of Ralphs over there. Looks like a lot of it's still under construction here. When was this photo? This is from May of this year. So they're doing a lot of construction still at the airport for it being May of this year. Goodness gracious, what a giant airport. Huh. Neat. Neat. Then that should follow up. Do I get my TIE Fighter now? I think you might have to make it yourself in the garage. Number fire rate topic: Saskatchewan summer snow, alkali sloughs. What? Saskatchewan summer snow, Saskatchewan summer snow. What you talking about, Willis? Used to wait. Currently dealing with 100-degree heat, 40% humidity. It feels like hell out here. My poor AC can barely keep up right now. Yeah. Need a robust AC system to handle relentless heat. Owen Saunders. Hi. Do they still have to buy half the share of Acme for every MMTLP close? If they're having to close positions, yes. And it will be on all the shares that were shorted prior to the merger. Yes. 654 is 110 where I'm at. Good times. Feels like a preview of my afterlife. 64, Houston. Any good book recommendations? Something that's mind-opening, brain-tickling. I struggle to let anything into my mind. Some people change their life just with a few words, the right few words. What do you like reading? I guess is the question. If you like philosophy, Fritjof Capra, The Turning Point. That's a good read. Very dense, but yes, worth it. If you like thinking about space aliens, Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land, my favorite sci-fi novel. Catch-22, my favorite absurdist novel. The Selected Works of T.S. Spivet, my favorite heartwarming novel. Biographies. Ooh, biographies are all different. I like sports biographies a lot. It's like Bo Knows Bo. I like that one a lot. That one stuck with me. Biographies of scientists are always cool. Like biographies on Feynman or Tesla or Humboldt or Einstein. Or I like reading about how those folks' brains worked and what their lives were like, and just the weird confluence of rad people that happen at certain times. Like, you know, the Enlightenment, when you had basically all the brainiacs in the United States all became buddies and formed a country. And these people were just like cream of the crop brainiacs. And then you flash forward a few years and you get the brainiacs meeting again for the Manhattan Project. And, you know, in between then you've got this weird confluence of folks like Humboldt and Bolivar and the King of Prussia, all like it's just weird. It's a weird confluence of rad people meet every once in a while and change history. And it happens in the arts, it happens in music, it happens in technology. It's very weird how these eras come about and a whole bunch of rad people all of a sudden get together and make a bunch of cool stuff and change the world. I like reading about those things when it comes to biographies. You know, like you get like the Warhol Collective, you get the grunge era, you get the San Francisco peacenik weirdos, all like just these weird scenes form, and I just like reading about how those things came about. Vavra Kadabra. Houston, do you ever come to Okanagan, BC to taste some wine or shred some champagne powder? I have... Only place in Okanagan I've been skiing is Big White, and the snow is really nice. That's the only Okanagan snow I've ever shredded. So no, I've not been there to really shred snow. It's been like 20 years since I've shredded snow there. I would like to get the Revelstoke though. I've always wanted to go check out Revelstoke. Sounds badass, and for badasses. And I don't know if I'm badass enough, but I want to try it. I don't drink wine, so I'm a total square. I don't drink, so I wouldn't go for the wine tasting. I would go to pet dogs that hang out at a winery. That'd be why I'd go. Prontal, Houston. When that submarine imploded, how long did it take for them to observe and register the actual implosion before they vanished? How does it compare to a car hitting a wall? The entire episode, I was reading mathematically, would have been about a 30th of a second between when the hole failed and when they got compressed into nothingness and flash heated to thousands of degrees while the air was compressed around them. So I don't think they ever would register. I think 30th of a second is faster than it takes to initiate a blink. So when they say something happens in a blink of an eye, that's it. And I just think that they went from existing to not existing, and it never registered in their brain before it happened. Now, there may have been some like clues of like herking and gurking and creaking that may have happened, but my guess is with the way carbon fiber reacts, it was more just like a bam, and it was just over. So if they heard the creaks and whatever, I don't think it clicked what was about to happen. Since 54, I'm considered smart among my peers, but I'm incredibly oblivious. I know it snows, but why it snows, but never thought about it snowing in the middle of the ocean. Saw it once, was shocked, I tell you. I mean, did you guys see the lady get just ripped apart recently? She made like a TikTok, and she's like, you see the aliens and conspiracies and whatever, and the government's out to get you. See that? The moon's out during the day. That didn't happen when I was a kid. That's somebody who's completely oblivious and never looked up. My own mother, she was like 65 years old at the time. Her son teaches astrophysics. And she says, I saw the moon today during the day. I was like, yeah, that happens. She's like, I didn't know that could happen. Like, have you never looked up before? I remember vividly where I was, the exact spot. I can show you. I will show you exactly where I was standing when I first registered that you could see the moon during the day. I was 2.5 years old. I want you to know, I wasn't even yet 3 years old, and I know the exact moment I saw the moon out during the day and where I was. I was standing right. Shepherd Way. Where are you, Shepherd Way? Right here. I was standing right here in front of this tiny little townhome complex. That time, this was an empty field. This was government Navy housing. I was standing right here, right in the middle of the road with my sisters, and I looked up, and I saw a crescent of a moon in the middle of the day, looking west. Because towards the evening, sun's getting low, and I was like, oh my, that's the moon. And in my brain, what clicked was that it looks exactly the same as the shot of the Death Star from Endor in Return of the Jedi. That's the connection I made at 2.5 years old, standing right there on that road with my sisters. So I looked up in 1983, 84, saw that thing, went, oh, the moon's out during the day. Didn't know that could happen. And then registered, I saw something similar in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. So I don't know what people were thinking when they didn't know, when they're so oblivious. They just didn't know. They just didn't know. They didn't know the moon could be out during the day. But yes, it can snow in the ocean. And I guess that blew some minds. Vavracadabra, Revy has the most vertical in North America. Yeah, and I heard it's like kind of like Chamonix. Like you just take a car to the top and they go ski on down. So it's all just backcountry and not at all maintained. You just go. So I'm curious. Check it out. Julius, time for baseball. Billy Mack. Some people, aka OG holders, still believe there was no shorts going to MMTLP from the Torch merger. Do you think the criminals did the right thing then? Some people, aka OG holders, I'm talking about the Voltron people, still believe there's no shorts going to MMTLP from the Torch merger. Do you think the criminals did the right thing then? I'm not sure what you're asking with the second part, but claiming that there were no shorts happening when the MMAT shares appeared is just wrong. Those were shorted as much as anything in the universe. And more happened. The Voltron guys, like, they uncovered some important DD. They uncovered the connection between GTS and Concord Genuity and creating the MMTLP ticker and the market involved. But when it comes to reading the actual, like, S1s and the merger documents, and things like that, they are wrong. They're just wrong. They claim only OG holders of Torchlight will receive the dividend. No, the dividend was the preferred shares, and you held the preferred shares, and then a market got generated for the preferred shares, so people could buy and sell the preferred shares, right? And a whole bunch of preferred shares that were being bought and sold were probably being bought and sold naked. Why? Because of the thresholds list and the failures to deliver. Those are naked sales. And then when it came time for the MMTLP to convert into NextBridge, they basically said, "Oh, people only OG holders will get their NextBridge shares out of this." But then other people registered and were able to get them who weren't OG holders. So they're wrong there. Their entire interpretation of what the dividend was and is has been wrong from the get-go, and that has precipitated in how they view the stock as itself, and they see where they see the scams happening are wrong. The scams are happening on the market maker side and the short hedge fund side. That's where the scams are. And that the scams aren't happening from the fact that people own these shares. I just can't. I just wish I could like plug a USB port in their head, one to my head, transfer the information, and they go, "Oh, that makes more sense now." Because I don't know how else to explain it. The dividend was the shares. That was the dividend. So we say only OG people can get the dividend. You got it. You got the preferred shares. Cool. A market got created illegally by GTS and Concord, and those OG shares, those dividends are now traded. That's what happened. I don't know how to explain it a simpler way than that. But, System 54, there's actually conspiracy going on about the heat wave not being real. I just can't sometimes with humanity. Yeah, heat wave's not real. It's not happening. Okay. Then go to those places. Head on down to Phoenix. Go fall in the parking lot of a Walgreens, wearing nothing but shorts and a tank top. Tell me how you feel after that. That's what I want to know. It's not real? Okay, you can hop on a plane. You can go to Southern Florida. You can take a dip in the water, and you can tell me exactly what temperature is of the water. Let me know. You can go to Sicily. You can go stand in the middle of a giant wildfire. By all means, have at it. No one's stopping you, right? It's conspiracy people just grate on me after a while. It's so easy to check your facts, and they just don't. All right. Well, sorry. Asia Pacific. We got a storm system moving across. I'm looking at National Hurricane Center. We got a storm system moving across. It looks like Nicaragua that I think might turn into a hurricane there. I'm surprised. We got tons of storm systems forming, and the water's so hot. I wonder if there's like wind shear or something that's just tearing these storm systems apart. I don't know. It's weird. Abracadabra. It's incredible. You'll love it. I hope so. I hope I'll love it. At Revelstoke. Ted Bingham. Do you think original Willy Wonka's plan was flawed? Kids who win that contest or like chocolate crack addicts, reflection of capitalism? I mean, Willy Wonka wanting to murder children is a fairy tale as old as time. Like, almost every fairy tale existed was about some kid who didn't listen to their parents and then got eaten by a witch, right? So, Roald Dahl's in a modern fairy tale about loving chocolate too much will result in Willy Wonka killing you. So, yeah. So that I think is the moral of the story: is listen to your parents, kids. Don't eat that chocolate. Says 54. Bronny James experienced cardiac arrest. Can you fully recover from this? How bad is this for his future in the NBA? Seems like a bad omen on that career path. I mean, it depends on the nature of it. There is a guy that I went to school with, probably one of the top basketball players in the state, amazing athlete. And when we were 16 in PE class, he dropped dead. we're doing the presidential fitness challenge and had to run our mile in under 8 minutes to get like the presidential fitness challenge map. And he's running his mile, doing fine, and just dropped dead. And the only reason he's alive today is because Coach White, who is the PE teacher and coach of the football team, did CPR and brought him back to life. And he was 16 and had to get a pacemaker installed, and that was the end of his sports career. Like, this is a kid whose entire identity was sports, and now he can't be around a microwave because his pacemaker will shock his heart into shape. So it happens. What's his butt? Who took a hit and his heart stopped in an NFL game. His name isn't leaving my head. He's talking about making a comeback. So it was blunt force trauma that stopped his heart. And so the doctors looked at it like, okay, well, let's wait for the sucker to heal, and you can start using it again. So hopefully he'll be able to make a comeback. But if it's a congenitive heart issue that caused Bronny James to do that, then he probably doesn't have a sports career ahead of him. If it was trauma, then maybe. Yeah, so it happens. Some folks the ticker just goes, that's it, I'm done, and just drops. Rogue 13, do you believe in existence after death? No. I think when you're gone, that's it. I don't really think there's a soul because our brains are too big. That we wouldn't bother evolving to have such giant brains and making childbirth such a pain in the ass so that we can like pop these skulls out before the heads get even bigger. Because like other animals, they have teeny tiny little brains, little micro brains, and they can go through their gestation and pop out, and the baby's like, whoa, you're my mom. I'm gonna follow you around because I can walk. And whereas humans are just these little pupa that don't have any dexterity in their fingers and can't see for a while and can't fend for themselves, they have to be like held and forced to nurse. They don't just find it, seek it out, and go, give me that thing. Nom, 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 nom. So we're useless. We're useless as babies compared to other animals when they are babies. And why, if a soul exists, would evolution put so much force into creating such a large cabeza for us if it all could be contained into an ethereal soul? So, no, I think you die, lived your life, and your legacy is what you left behind. And that's how you're remembered, and that's it. Those are your records. Seems bleak for some, but for me, relaxing. Because, quite frankly, if I've got to go to heaven and spend my time with the people who go to heaven, I think I would try to kill myself all over again. And, if I got to go to hell to hang out with the cool people and get tortured, well, that's lame, but I guess that's what I'll have to do. Maybe I get reincarnated in something and I'll become, I don't know, a piece of celery or something. I don't know. Iggy. Houston, I was today years old when I figured out Freddie Ciceron from Madball is also Freddie Madball. I don't know any of those words. Freddie Madball. Freddie Madball. Oh. The band. Ah. Okay. That's what we're talking about. All right. I was like thinking like a movie called Madball. No, the band Madball. Thank you. Christian. Freddie Christian. Okay. From Passaic, New Jersey. Woo! Julius Miami, come on down here and enjoy the soupy beach water. Julius, last week was the Saharan dust. This week it's the wind shears breaking down the potential hurricanes. But next month, yeah. Damar Hamlin, thank you, that was the name. Hamlin's back on the Bills field. Yeah, he's apparently practicing and he's gonna, I guess, try to play this year. So more power to the guy. Bless him. Amplifier right. I can recommend the news source Tangle. It gathers perspectives and headlines from both political left and right and makes some sense from it. Word. 64, sorry everyone, but I gotta take advantage when I can. This is like Google ChatGPT incarnate. I really get to talk to smart people. Ted Bingham, guy on X, fought with me. The Permian Basin has no oil, and there is no oil there. It said to do more digging. What? Prove it wrong? Because it is. I mean, they produced oil. They produced oil for years. What they aren't doing is they aren't selling oil. They're like, hey, did a drilling, capped it off, move on to the next one. And now what they need to do is they need to drill, suck it out of the ground, put it into tanks, stick it in trucks, ship those trucks off to refineries, sell that stuff, and that just needs to be the process that happens. But Mac, the OG torch holders claims that the hedge fund's fully 100% covered, and only 165 MMTLP divvy was created before MMTLP trading began. There's a theory that MMTLP divvy had shorts during divvy date. Oh yeah, no, they definitely had shorts during divvy date. They had tons of shorts. Yeah, like there's a reason why a lot of folks went to go register and their broker was like, cannot, or went to register and AST said, can't take this. These aren't real shares. Stuff like that happened. So yeah. Cornsturks 2 just got here. What did I miss on MMTLP? Not much. They FINRA released correspondence with NextBridge. The government, Congress has signed a joint letter from like 15 reps saying, hey, Gary Gensler, get on this. Tell us what's happening. And now we wait till the 11th of August. So, yeah. Which is interesting because that'll be right about the time they go into the recess. So will anyone be there? Because a huge recess happens in August where everyone just kind of heads home or goes on vacation to Europe or something. First name, last name, Houston. Yesterday, I initiated my MMTLP transfers from Philly to AST, $100. They hung up so many times before I finally spoke long enough to have it done. What a shit show. Maybe, as Julio pointed out on Twitter, maybe I just have the, there's a flag on my account that says that I'm an influencer and they just make things go easy for me. I don't know. Okay, it's 4:30. I gotta get going. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Perhaps I will do a Twitch tonight when I get back. You guys can join me for a Friday night Twitch, and I'll stare at some Google Maps with you. For me and the fat-bellied cat, look at that thing. Just jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Such a tubs. Yeah. Blub, 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 blub. Oh, yeah, show everybody. Show everybody. Show it to them. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you love it so much. You love having your nurple played with. And for the monkey butt who's in the corner, you can only see her butt of the monkey butt. Thank you so much. I will see you guys hopefully tonight on some Twitch. If not, see you Monday. Take care. Have a good time. Be kind to each other and be cool. Stretch it out. Oh, little jiggle cat. Such good scratches.